Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're going to be doing, of course, our preview predictions for the Knicks versus Pistons, third place versus the sixth seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Now, look, the Knicks, they're 50 and 30, but their final stretch of the season was, had a myriad of injuries, and it was just marred with a bit of inconsistency that led to them having not much in momentum. But they're still a team that had a 3.6 SRS, and they averaged 116 points per game, which is sixth best in the league, while allowing only 111.8 points, fourth best in the league. Those are great numbers. As we always said, teams that are top 10 in both either or both offense and defensive rating, like the Knicks are usually a team that are going to be able to be in the finals or conference finals. But they're facing a very, very tough matchup in the first round series against Detroit, which is a young, athletic, up-and-coming team that they did beat 3 times. The Knicks have the playoff experience, their top 4 defense, but this physical, fast-paced, gritty team led by JB Bickerstaff and Kate Cunningham fits the mold that the Knicks might have to worry. So before we start today's video, I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comments section. Who do you think is going to win the series and how many games? If you guys just want to get to the end of the video where we give our prediction, just skip to like the final minute or two, and that's where we're going to talk about it. But hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this, and let's get right into it. Now, I think if we just start with the Knicks, I think that's going to be the easiest to talk. I know Ariel Hakaporti is going to be out, his knees messed up, and we assume Towns is going to be healthy by this point. So a rotation of obviously Towns, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Jalen Brunson is expected. This is Mr. Tom Thibodeau with a squad that playing a plethora of their minutes, as we already mentioned, those 5 dudes. Then it's Deuce McBride being their 6th man, and we would assume, would it be at this point, if we look at the Knicks' most recent matchup, would it be a little bit of Precious Achiuwa or just Mitch Robinson off the bench? In the recent game, obviously, Mitchell Robinson played, so it's not really the best indicator of how they would go about a matchup like that. But in the game where it was with Karl-Anthony Towns, it seems like Deuce McBride, Landry Shamet, Mitchell Robinson, Cam Payne have been kind of like their 4 dudes off the bench. And I don't even know if Tibbs will go that deep. I think they would just bring in some 3-point shooting from Landry Shamet. Deuce McBride and Cam Payne take turns. And yeah, I guess Mitchell Robinson, worst comes to worst, you throw in not Landry Shamet, but Precious Achiuwa if Mitchell Robinson can't play. Now, this is a Knicks squad that I think in terms of scoring, you have yourself 5 dudes who are capable of scoring in double digits, or who are going to be able to score in double digits. You can even say 6 dudes if you throw in Deuce McBride. Then you got some shooting off the bench with Cam Payne and Landry Shamet. What is my biggest concern? I think with a Knicks team that their shooting can be at times a little bit hit or miss. They're a squad that, as I said earlier in the video, is a 5th offensive rating, 13th in defensive rating, top 5 and top 15 in their respective categories. Now, when you look at it there, they struggle with the 3 ball. Yes, their percentage is good, but they're bottom 4 in both attempts and 3-point makes amongst the league. So when you're playing a Pistons team that has a lot of bombers, they do not want to get into a shootout. And as we mentioned briefly in the beginning, the Knicks, if they can control the tempo and Brunson continues to do his thing, get to the free throw line, which when we talk about a team getting to the free throw line, they're actually a team that actually isn't top 5 in attempts. They're actually bottom 5 in attempts, but they are 9th in makes. But if they can just get to the paint and score how they do, which, they make the sixth most field goal attempts, and that's second most 2-point attempts in the league that they make. So they clearly love to score inside, and that's what they need to do against the Pistons squad. So let's go over and talk about the Pistons now. And this is a Pistons team that, in my opinion, they're going to hope that Beef Stew is going to be back. And I wonder if, obviously, do not expect Jaden Ivey to be playing in this game, but series, my apology. I think the interesting part, Kay Cunningham, Tim Hardaway Jr., Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren. I think you're really going to shrink it down to, if Beef Stew's back, Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, and Beef Stew. Maybe a little bit of Ron Holland and Simone Fontecchio if you need them, but the Pistons have been able to be gritty, play this style of ball that I think a coach like JB Biggerstaff very much likes. They are a fast-paced team. They're physical at the same time. They are not a great three-point shooting team in terms of volume or attempts. Nothing stands out like that. But what they are, they just have guys like Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., the aforementioned Cade Cunningham, who are going to all be guys capable of unloading three-point shots. And with that being said, Malik 9, Cade 6, Tim 6 as well almost. And Schroeder's getting you like 4. Tobias Harris is shooting under 4 this season, but he's a guy who can get him up there. Same thing Simone, about 3, but he can get him up there. That's the thought when you look at that. And in this recent game against the Bucks, they really went 8 guys, Schroeder, Beasley, and then Holland off the bench. And like I said, when Beef Stew's back, I think you're not going to have Holland. It's going to be Beef Stew, Beasley, and Schroeder. 8-man rotation. Cade, Tim Hardaway, Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, all being in the starting lineup. So that gives you right there between Schroeder, Beasley, Hardaway, Cade, Tobias. Beef Stew shoots a little bit of threes, you can say, and he's going to attempt what does he attempt at this point? Is, I guess, a 3 a game, and you have yourself the other guy that would be in this rotation. As we mentioned, Schroeder, we already said she's about 4. Tobias, about 4. I guess Asar doesn't shoot just 1. So everybody here is going to shoot a ball except Jalen Duren, which is fine. And they're going to have the rebounding ability. Now, we mentioned they're a team that doesn't statistically stand out. However, they do force their opponents to shoot the 9th worst 3-point percentage. And or 9th best, actually, my apologies. So people do shoot well on them from 3-point range, but they also force teams to have terrible shooting nights. They're top 10 in opponents' field goal percentage. So they have the ability to make guys have tough nights and earn their buckets, especially inside. So to me, this will be a game definitely dependent on, I think, runs and who controls the tempo. I think the Pistons will be able to make things interesting now that we make this prediction. But the Knicks, especially if they're fully healthy, I just think the combination of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Karl-Anthony Towns, Deuce McBride, then having Campaign and Landry Shamet, I think they'll be able to bombard their opponents in the Pistons, who are allowing 113 points a game. The Knicks score 116, and they only allow 111, while the Pistons only score 115. I think the Knicks just have a more potent offense and a better defense. I'm not saying I think the Pistons will be able to take 1, maybe 2 games from the Knicks, but I think the Knicks will win this 4-1 or 4-2 against the Pistons. It's a good story for the Pistons this year, but I don't think they have enough to really get over the edge and beat the Knicks. So great year for Kay Cunningham. Hopefully an All-NBA player, rightfully deserved. Malik Beasley had a great season. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. extended his career. I really like what JB Bickerstaff and Trajan Langdon's building there, but Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges, just those guys defensively. Even Deuce McBride we can throw in there, and Mitchell Robinson, I think is enough to contain the Pistons most night. And then with Jalen Brunson and Cat being your two offensive nucleuses who have guys in OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart, and even Deuce McBride, as I mentioned earlier, all capable of scoring. I just don't know if there's enough defense on the Pistons side to stop that. So going to give this one to the Knicks, but it's going to be fun to watch regardless. Let me hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys expect at this point for the Knicks and